Hey everyone, thank you for coming to Vibe with me. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to go from this to this. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. This is not my typical ASMR video, it's mostly just self speaking, but stay tuned. In a few weeks, I'll post a video with plenty of Rubik's Cube sounds and whispering and mouth sounds, so stay tuned for that. But I want this one to be educational because I love doing my Rubik's Cube, and I think it's something that everyone should be able to brag to their friends and say that they can do. So please enjoy the video. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go over some cube basics so that you can follow along a little bit easier. Now, the centerpieces dictate what that whole side should be, and their orientation does not change. So this white side will always be the white side, and it is always across from yellow. Orange is always across from red, and blue is always across from green. Now some more terminology. So you have the centerpieces, you have side or edge pieces, and you have corner pieces. We can also talk about location versus orientation. So location, for example, is the fact that this green and white piece is right here where it is, whereas the orientation can change. So now that same green and white piece is in the same location, but its orientation on the cube has changed. So just to make you aware, I am not going to list out every algorithm because there are so many resources available that do that. What I want to do is talk about the cube and how to solve it conceptually so that you can use this video in concert with those resources to clear up some common things that were confusing, especially for me when I first started solving my Rubik's Cube. So with that, we'll go ahead and get into it. The cube is solved in layers. So first you'll start on the top side, and while you're doing that, you align it with the center pieces on all the corresponding sides. Following that, you will go through and solve the middle layer. And finally, you solve the last layer. So we'll start with the first side. Out of habit, I always start with green, but you can start with any side you'd like. The first thing you have to do is get a cross on the first side you're going to solve. That means you'll have all of these pieces in the correct spots. And correct means that they line up with the center piece on the other sides. So this green and white piece is in the wrong place because the white is not lined up with the orange. Excuse me, the white is lined up with the orange and it shouldn't be. So for this first piece, it's very simple. We just line it on up. Now we'll keep going until we get the rest of the side pieces in. So we have a green and orange piece. Now where's the orange side? The orange side is over here. So we have to get this piece over to this location in relation to the rest. And this part tends to come pretty naturally for most people. So now we have two pieces of the cross, and they're each aligned with the center. Alright, here we have green and red. And that piece has to go here to line up with the red. You can't just go this way, otherwise it'll be in the wrong orientation. So we are going to bring it around. And now you have everything in line still, because we've put it into the right location in relation to the rest of the ones that we've set in place. Now the last one should be green and yellow, and it's right here. So alright, now we have this green cross, and all of the centerpieces are lined up properly. Next we have to fill in the corner pieces, and again we have to ensure that it's lined up properly with the corresponding sides. Now this is a very simple algorithm that I will go ahead and share. If there's corner pieces in this front right edge, you can do this simple algorithm. Right face prime, the bottom prime, right, and the bottom. Again. Now every time the orientation of these pieces has changed, and their location actually. So if you need to move a corner piece up to the top and get it reoriented, that is what you're going to do every single time. But the important thing is that it's lined up in the corner that it should go. So here we have green, white, and orange. And that piece needs to go right here. So we'll just line that up on the bottom of the cube there. And we'll do that same algorithm. Now we've got that corner piece, and it's properly in line with the white and the orange edge pieces. Now continue on. Here we have green, orange, and yellow. So we'll line it up underneath green, orange, and yellow. And we'll go ahead and do that same algorithm until that piece falls into place. And as you get experienced, you'll recognize how many times it will take based on the location that it started in. Another interesting thing is you can actually do the same algorithm just in reverse to work from the left side. So I'll use that as an example here, because we have a green, white, and red that needs to come up here. Now if I tried to do this from the right, it would take me 4 times because of its location. But if I do it from the left, it will only take me 1 time. See? So now we have all but one of the corner pieces in, and we're staying lined up to where we have these nice T's. The last corner piece is green, red, and yellow. So go ahead and line that up. When it's on the bottom, it doesn't matter if you choose the left or the right algorithm, it will take the same amount of time. Alright, so this pretty much completes the first layer of the cube. We have one side done, and on each corresponding edge, we've got a nice T where it's properly lined up and ready for the second layer to be solved. So here's the second layer. We're going to turn the cube upside down and work this way from here on out. To solve the second layer, all we have left are edge pieces. So you can see here, this is not correct. This one is actually in place already. This one is not oriented correctly. And this one is in place. So we can change out edge pieces from here to here and here to here. So there is, again, two different algorithms. One if you're coming from the left down, and one if you're coming from the right down. Again, these are very easy to find online, but I just want you to be aware of the pitfalls when you're using those guides. So, how do you know which algorithm to use? Well, here we have the orange and the white piece. It needs to come down here to be in its proper location between the orange and the white sides. Like I said before, you can do this algorithm from the right, or you can do it from the left. If we did it from the left, you'll see that it starts with the white edge piece in line with the orange centerpiece. And that is not what you want. You know which side to start from because you'll see the edge and the centerpiece are correctly put together. So in this case, we'll go ahead and do it from the right. And as you can see, we have moved that orange and white piece from here down here. Now what do we have left? Just one more. So to move this out, it's actually the same algorithm. So now we've kicked this red and yellow piece out, and it's on the top layer. Now, again, we line it up, perform the algorithm, and this piece will go here, and as you probably noticed, this piece will end up over here. And there you have it. 2 layers of the cube are complete. And we're on to the 3rd layer. So in the 3rd layer, there is one similarity between solving this last layer and the 1st layer. We have to start with a cross. However, you cannot get the cross in the same manner or you would mess everything else on the cube up. So there's a particular algorithm again that you should use here. It's important to note that your cube can start out this layer in one of 4 different configurations. The first is that you would only have the centerpiece of the cross. The next is like what we have here with an L. You could have a straight line, or you could have the cross completed if you're really lucky. Either way, if you repeat the same algorithm, you will end up with the cross, as long as you have the proper orientation of the cube when you begin. So for this, I like to have the L in this far corner away from me. And what you'll notice is you go from one of those 4 states to the next. So we started at an L, we end up with a straight line, and if we do it again, sorry, I started talking and forgot the the algorithm for a moment. Anyway, if we do it again, you end up with the cross. So it progresses from center piece to an L to a straight line and finally to the cross. Now the next thing is lining up those edge pieces. And as you can see, we have two of them lined up, but they're across from each other. This is actually the most difficult configuration to find yourself in, because it'll take you one extra round of performing the algorithm in order to get everything in line. That algorithm is quite simple. Okay, and as you can see, it's moved this white piece away, and we're left with none of them matching. So what you have to do is manipulate the top layer until you have two of the edge pieces next to each other that are in line. Once you have that, you position this to your right and perform the algorithm again. There we go. So now we have the cross still with all four edge pieces in line. And now you've guessed it, we are going to have to get the corner pieces. Now, first we tackle location, and then we handle orientation to complete the cube. So to get the location correct, this was the most difficult algorithm for me to learn. Well, actually, for me to memorize. Once I was able to solve up to this point, I knew how to follow the algorithms, but this one was difficult for me until a math teacher of mine made it more conceptual. So essentially, when I do this, I always think of this back corner, left corner piece stays where it's at, and these ones rotate. So normally what you do is one of them that is correct will be the one that stays back here. In this case, we don't have any that are correct, so we can start wherever we'd like. And what I'm doing won't necessarily line up with how the books tell you to do it. I think I do it the slow way. But again, it's what made sense to me to help me memorize how to do the cube. So now we have the blue, white, and red, which is in the correct spot, and everything else is off. So we'll position that blue, red, and white in its correct spot in the back left corner, and go ahead and do the algorithm again. If I can remember it, I've been getting so thrown off by my talking. There we go. It's not often that I talk while doing my Rubik's Cube. It's generally something I sit in silence and just knock it out. And distractions are not the best for me here. Alright, so as you can see, we have all of the pieces in their correct location, but none of them are in the correct orientation. So how do we fix this without messing up everything else? Well, we use the exact same corner manipulating algorithm that we did for the first layer. So we're going to repeat it for each corner until the pieces are in place. Once we have this side in place, we'll rotate the top and then keep doing it again. Now don't panic. While you're doing this, it's going to seem like the rest of the cube is getting destroyed, I could explain to you how, but just know and trust that everything will be fine at the end. We're almost there. So, we'll start on this side. We finished the algorithm. Now we'll twist the top and keep going until it's done again. See how scary it is after all the work you've done? But it keeps working itself out. 2 more sides to go. Now the reason for this working is because this algorithm is non-destructive. Once you repeat it a certain number of times, it puts the cube back into its original state. So you can repeat it as much as you want, and eventually it will go back to how it was. And that is it. You've solved a Rubik's Cube. So use this video alongside the listed algorithms, and it should help you work out any conceptual issues that you have with those instructions. And I hope that this works out for you. I wish there was a video like this when I was learning how to do a cube in 2008. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I will try to get back to you. By the way, I don't claim to be an expert. It's just a hobby. Also, I do have a dodecahedron, or a 12-sided Rubik's Cube, which they call the Mega Mix. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that as well. It would probably be a longer video. It takes me about 2 to 3 times as long to solve it. So if I was doing any sort of explaining, it would probably take me quite a bit longer. But let me know if you're interested in seeing that. And as always, thank you so much for coming to vibe with me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.